Hey everybody, how's it going? So today I want to discuss a small tip that if I had learned early on would have helped me a lot in business. Now, when you're building a business, you are not only doing your hamster wheel work. Hamster wheel work is work that once you do it once, you're going to have to do it again and again and again and again and again in order for that work to continue to produce for your company. And then there's what I call real work, and the real work is the work that once you do it, it will continue to produce for your company continuously. So for instance, responding to a customer email. This is something that you have to do. And once you do it that one time, that's it. It's like you responded to that one customer. You're going to have to do it again and again and again and again and again. Whereas let's say if you do the work of producing a website, that website is going to continue to bring people walking through your door. So you make the website, and once you've made the site, you do it once, but it continues to produce for you continuously. Now, if you only focus on the hamster wheel work and not the real work, you have a business that is essentially not sustainable because the moment that you stop working, things stop getting done. If you only focus on the real work without doing the hamster wheel work where, you keep running and running, but you're not going anywhere, you're not getting anything done. So for instance, if you put all your time and effort into building a website and all in your advertising and coming up with business processes, but you spend no time doing the actual work of responding to customers and fixing their stuff, then your business will go under. So what I try to do is I always look for these little hacks and cheats that allow me to do multiple things with one action. So when you're doing one action, let's say you're responding to a customer email, you're just doing one action. You're responding to that customer's email. But how could you make it so that that one action does both your hamster wheel work and your real work at the same time? What you could do is while you're responding to that customer, you come up, instead of just doing, let's say you have 30 emails you got to respond to, just go through, let me just be as quick and specific as possible to each one of these. You could say, for this issue, I'm going to write out the most detailed possible thing there is, not confusing to the customer. I'm going to write out something that not only answers their question, but answers any potential follow-up questions that I'm used to getting when I'm dealing with this question. I'm going to give them all the information that they need. I'm going to give them all the, ancillary information that they may want, because they may want not just know how much is it, they may want to know how long is it, do you use original parts, blah, 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 what's the warranty, blah, blah. I'm going to answer all that stuff. Then what I'm going to do is once I'm done crafting this response, I'm going to put it into a spreadsheet where there is year and model of device over here, issue over here. And I'm going to put it into that sheet. Now, each time I do that, I'm actually creating a manual that's going to allow someone else to be able to answer all these questions so that I don't have to be the only one that answers them. Because usually what happens when scaling a business is a lot of people, they're good at doing the basic everyday work, but when it comes to doing the stuff that allows you to expand and hire people, they wind up waiting until they actually need to hire people, myself included in many cases, and to actually start writing out the full manual. And if you're faced with a business where you have 30 or 50 or 100 customers a day, and now you just have to write a manual, you're probably going to be overwhelmed and keep putting it off because it's just something that seems like it's impossible to do. Like, how am I going to get all this information for every single device, every single thing that any customer may send out of my head so that I can just hire some person to do this for me? But if you're doing it every step of the way, then you don't have to think about doing it all at once. Because every time you're responding to an email, if you say, here is the price for this particular problem on this particular device, here's a canned response that I suggest, then when you're responding to your customer emails, you're actually not just responding to customer emails, you're doing two things with one action. Another example that I like to give is with, let's say, just something like an employee training manual. So I actually wrote this thing and uploaded it while I was training some new people here. So this is at repair.wiki, which I highly encourage anybody here who's good at repair to contribute to. This is the repair.wiki here. Let's just get it to actually show up on the screen. There we go. So this is a page where I'm going over all of the things that are wrong with these boards. So I'm saying these probe points work, the board works, but it's not going to last. I show you over here what, an example of a corroded probe point. I show examples of like just small things that you should really touch up before giving back to the customer, like little bits of corrosion here and there, how to detect BGA corrosion and all sorts of stuff like that. And what a lot of people don't know is that this is actually from my quality assurance and quality control when hiring new people. So when we hire new people, I don't have them just give their board repairs back to the customer. I want to look through them myself, and before I let them close it up and give it to a customer. Because even if I just hired you, you have a nice resume, maybe you fix something fine in the interview, I don't know you, and I need to get to know your work before I trust giving it back to customers. So what I did here is I tried to do 3 different things with this work. So instead of just saying, okay, your work's good, or okay, your work's bad, and giving it back to a customer or telling you redo it, I decided I'm going to take a picture each time this happens so I can add it to a guide. But not only did I just make a picture so I could add it to an employee guide, I also uploaded it to a public wiki so that it could be part of charitable work for an organization called Repair Preservation Group that I've created that teaches people how to do repair. So A, I'm doing my quality assurance, quality control. B, I'm creating a manual that makes it easier for us to show to new people so that they can get up to speed faster, so that they can learn faster. C, I'm also doing charitable work for an organization that seeks to teach people how to do these repairs. So instead of me just doing quality assurance, quality control, where that one quality assurance, quality control I do is only good for that one instance, for the one customer who is going to get this device back, it's only good for that one employee that I'm criticizing in that one moment. Now that particular work that I'm doing covers everybody. So I'm not taking time out of my day to sit down and type out a manual and come up with all these cases after doing my quality control, quality assurance. I'm actually doing it at the same time. I'm baking it in to the same job. So while I'm doing that quality control and quality assurance for my employees and my customers to make sure that my new staff members are giving back good repairs to people, I am also creating a guide that helps teach people into the future how to do this, that we could hand out to new employees, and I'm also putting it on a platform. So I'm doing 3 things at once with that one action. That allows me to be 3 times as productive, because instead of taking time to do these things separately, instead of doing quality control, then afterwards I'm going to write a guide on how to do quality control, then afterwards I'm going to upload it publicly, I'm literally doing it all at the same time. So it allows me to be 3 times as productive, because even though I'm using that same 20-minute slot of time for to do this, I'm using that same 20-minute slot of time to do 3 things instead of 1 without putting in 3 times the effort. Another example that I would have is, let's say, with the YouTube videos that I'm doing. So this is something that I didn't really notice that I was actually doing at the time that I was doing it, but I was. So when I go over to this playlist here, as you can hear, by the way, I'm back in New York City to do videos. I'm no longer upstate, which is why you will hear sirens about every 30 or 50 seconds. It's the beauty of living in lovely New York City. When I was doing these board repair videos a long time ago, there's at least 600 of them just in this playlist. When I was doing these board repair videos, I was fixing the customer's board, but I didn't want to only be fixing the customer's board. So now I'm fixing the customer's board. That's one thing. But at the exact same time that I'm fixing the customer's board, I'm also coming up with the training materials that will allow me to train new employees, because they have a guide on how to do all this stuff. And C, I'm also doing advertising for the business. D, I'm doing right to repair advocacy work, because people who watch this are going to get involved with repair, get excited about repair, want to know how we do what we do, what keeps us from doing what we do. So as you can see, that one board repair that took 15 minutes or 24 minutes or 6 minutes or 40 minutes is now not just a board repair video, which would be the hamster wheel work. That's the work that you have to continue to do, and if you stop doing it, the moment I stop fixing boards, the moment the money stops flowing in. That piece of that board repair that I do for that one customer is only good for that one customer. But advertising, when that video goes up, that video may result in me getting 200 or 500 or 1,000 customers into the future. That is real work. I did the work once, but it continues producing for me into the future. When it comes to training employees, I did the video once. That video may be responsible for training 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 employees. When it comes to right to repair advocacy, I did the video once, but the most popular video in this playlist may have gotten tens of thousands of people into right to repair, even though I only did it once. So what I'm seeking to do is I'm seeking to combine my hamster wheel work that needs to get done. Making the pizzas, changing the tires, the fixing boards, And I'm also trying to roll that into my real work, which is creating a training manual for new people, doing advertising, making sure that my business can actually exist into the future by advocating for our industry. And I'm trying to roll that into the same task. So then rather than have to do 30 minutes of work now and then later on have to do another 30 minutes of work, I can get all of that done in that 1 30-minute section. And there are people that do this way better than me. I do this on a very, very novice level, as evident by the fact that, I've been in business, like 12 or 13 years now, and I have one store in New York City that just kind of plods along. There are people that do this at a much higher level than me, that are able to have multi-million-dollar franchises that they sell to Allstate, that are able to create repair empires, that become millionaires or multi-millionaires or billionaires. I'm doing this on a really low level, but I still meet people that don't do this at all. They do their work, they sit in their hamster wheel, and they spend all day answering emails, and they never think, why don't I just take those responses I'm making and turn them into something as I'm doing it that is a manual, so that once I need to hire somebody else, the manual's already there. Because you and I both know, if you read a book on business development, you're just because you do, you're not going to create a manual for your business that day. You're going to keep procrastinating and putting it off, because creating a manual on how every single little thing works is an absolute nightmare. But there are these little things, little hacks that you can make so that you spend a lot less time getting a lot more stuff done. And for me, this is the kind of thing that kind of goes back to high school for me. So I remembered, in high school, what I would do, because when I got home, I didn't want to do homework, is I would do my math homework in my psychology class. I would do my psychology homework in my English class. I would do my English homework in my earth science class. I would do my earth science homework at lunch, and so on and so forth, so that by the time I got home, I didn't have to do anything. So I was always looking for these little holes in time where we weren't doing anything in class, or we were going over something that we didn't have to go over, or this was a part that's not going to be on the test. The moment I heard whatever we're learning now is not going to be on the test, but okay, cool. So I'm going to spend this time doing my homework for the other thing, because when I get home, the last thing that I want to do is, do fucking homework. I'm going to be at school for 6 or 8 hours. When I get home, that's my time. So I kind of took that philosophy, or that way of thinking, into running my business. And again, I really wish I did this earlier on. If I had been doing this in 2009 or 11 or 12 or 13, I probably would have been much further along than I am right now. So I'm hoping that the people that watch this kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about here and implement it into their businesses, so that hopefully, rather than plodding along as I did for many years, they're able to develop their business and grow their business and do far more things. Because it's not even so much about how hard you work, it's about how much can you cram into that one piece of work that you're doing. And if you can engineer ways for that one piece of work you do to benefit you in 3 ways rather than only benefiting you in one way, now you're 3 times as productive while doing the exact same amount of work. So that's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. Hopefully this was helpful. I will see you all in the next video. Bye now.